have to work it out. In fact, the Ministry of Local Government will have to work out the details of that arrangement with the Ministry of National Security and the police. But at the end of the day, there are some gray areas that we still have to decide on. For example, should the local government bodies be responsible for traffic control or not? We will have to work those things out. But by and large, the policy position is that the local government bodies will now be responsible for community policing. Community policing. And therefore, my dear friends, it is expected that you will get a much better level of security as a result of this new approach. Waste management. Waste management, again, another new area. Waste management is not just a question, well, there's a different aspect of it. It is the question of what you do with your solid waste. In Germany, as you provide waste, in everybody's house, they have 5 dustbins, 5 garbage bags. They put bottles in one. This is plastic bottles, glass in the next one, paper in the next one, organic material in one, and something else in the 5th one. You understand how they do it? They segregate it in a society as developed as Germany. And when that waste is collected, each bag goes to a different facility for a different purpose. The government of Trinidad and Tobago, while not starting off with 5, but we are developing a system where we begin to segregate our waste and recycle the waste so that you could use paper, you could recycle the paper and use it again and save a tree somewhere. You understand what I'm talking about? Or you could take the plastic bottles and you could recycle them and use them for some other purpose. In other words, reuse what could be used as opposed to what exists now, where everything goes in the dump. And all the negatives that go with the fact that some of them are not easily biodegradable, as it is described. In other words, they don't break down easily and leads to environmental problems in your community. That's a new area for local government. Management and control of insect, vector, and rodents, that's an old area. Provision and management of public markets and abattoirs, that's an old area. Promotion and preservation of environmental sanitation. And while that's an old area, I think I must draw to the attention of the students here in the College of Harris Promenade that there is a new approach to this. There is a new approach to environmental sanitation. Whereas in the past, the thing was controlled by a small group of service providers, we have now democratized it. It has now been opened up, and already, not only are we seeing a fall in prices, but we are also seeing the formation of new entrepreneurs, the development of new entrepreneurs, people coming into this business, people who in the past, for one reason or the next, had not been able to come into this business of waste management, now seeing lucrative business opportunities in that regard and coming into it. Already, we have started to put that in place, and the Minister of Local Government, I'm sure, will report more comprehensively on this matter in due course. Promotion and in special circumstances, undertaking local cultural community events and sporting activities. The local government bodies will now partner with the communities as they carry out social events. So the local government bodies will act as facilitators, assist you in whatever way it can. We have a truck here, you could help you transport something and so on. The exact details of that has to be worked out. But you see, it is an arrangement in which the local government bodies interface more directly with the people and do things in the communities that the people are doing and to assist them in conducting a proper community life. And in some instances, the local government bodies might even sponsor a program or two. Right now, they do carnival in their own areas, but there are other things, quite apart from a major festival as carnival. There are local festivals in which the local government bodies might wish to get involved, and we are now making that a responsibility of local government. Yes. Monitor planning and development activities within the municipalities. Well, that's the other thing. A lot of nonsense goes on in these communities with illegal construction and people doing all kinds of things that are against the law. The local government bodies will not monitor that. And when we met last week in the University of Woodford Square, we talked about the establishment of a development control agency. That development control agency, and the cabinet has taken the decision and set up a team to work out the modalities of that. That development control agency will now look to see who's doing illegal quarrying, who's scarring the landscape, building unauthorized housing developments, and so on and so on and so on. You understand what I mean? They will look at that. The local government bodies will now look at that. Report to the development control agency as is required, as is necessary. And the development control agency, which will be a strong agency with teeth under the law, will move in and seek to set things right. The naming of streets and the numbering of houses is a current responsibility of local government. Disaster preparedness and management. This is another area, my dear friends, in respect of which the position was not clear. Under the new arrangements, the local government bodies will be responsible for disaster preparedness and management. That is going to be the focal point. So if we have a flood, if we have roofs blown off from houses in a particular area, whatever we have, it doesn't have to be a major hurricane or a major earthquake alone. If we have localized events that require state intervention, then the local government bodies will intervene. They are authorized to come. They will stock what they have to stock: tents, tarpaulins, arrangements for temporary accommodation for those who have been dispossessed, and so on. The local government bodies have now been given the responsibility to do that, and they will step in. And because they are so close to the communities, you are likely to get a quicker intervention and a better level of service than the service to which you have been accustomed by other arrangements. And finally, my dear friends, issuing approvals for applications for full planning permission for single-family residential units in approved layouts under delegated authority by the minister with responsibility for town and country planning. In other words, some approvals for houses. You have a layout here that is approved by town and country planning. The layout should have 300 houses in it. Instead of having to go back to town and country planning for individual approval, you now come to the local government bodies and they will deal with that approval arrangement. That constitutes about 75% of the approvals in the country. So the local government bodies will have a full, in fact, it will continue to have a full responsibility in this particular area. So these, my dear friends, are the new responsibilities of local government. Some of them are old and continuing, but many of them are new. And all of them have been arrived at after a very careful consideration of the need to put efficient and effective systems in place and to provide a higher level of service to the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. These are the responsibilities. Oh, we'll come to that in a minute. My dear friends, to be able to carry this out, to be able to carry out these functions, the local government bodies now have to be structured in a certain way. There are going to be 7 divisions in local government, 7 divisions. Okay? A municipal management and corporate services division. Okay? That is a division that will see after the administration of the local government body. A division that will deal with public health and the environment. You understanding what I'm saying to you? Okay. A third division that deals with social services and community outreach, all the social programs and all what I just talked about disaster preparedness and so on, all of that will be under one division which we'll call social services and community outreach. Facilities maintenance and physical infrastructure, the maintenance of public buildings and all the physical infrastructure that has to be done, one division that looks after all of that, an engineering division. Planning and development, a division that looks after the planning and the implementation of the plans that have been designed by the local government bodies. The 6th one is municipal policing, a completely new division in the local government bodies that deals with the policing alone, municipal policing, policing alone, one division dealing with that alone. And division number 7 is the division of finance. But that division, well, I'll explain that in a minute. The division of finance is division number 7. You have 7 divisions, 6 of which are fundamental divisions. The finance division will be given, well, the responsibilities for that we'll deal with separately. But for each of these divisions, my dear friends, at the local level, we will now have